Have you ever noticed how one hug can feel completely different from another? One hug feels warm, safe, unforgettable. Another feels quick, polite, almost empty. But here's the strange part. She never said a single word, yet somehow you understood everything. What if I told you that the way she hugs you can reveal what she truly feels, sometimes even more honestly than her words ever could? Today, we're decoding the psychology behind her hugs. Not guesses, not assumptions, but what psychology says she's really communicating emotionally, subconsciously, and sometimes unintentionally. Welcome to Psychology Threads, the channel where we unravel human behavior, emotions, and relationships, one psychological thread at a time. Now let's begin. A hug is one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication humans have. Before we learned language, we learned touch, and the brain never forgot that. When she hugs you, her body is speaking directly to your nervous system, not to logic, not to reason, but to emotion. And that's why hugs can feel comforting, or confusing, or intense, or distant. Let's start with something important. Not every hug means the same thing. And not every hug is romantic. Psychology tells us that the meaning of a hug depends on 4 core factors: her intention, her emotional state, her comfort level with you, and how her body responds during the hug. Most people only notice the hug itself, but the real message is hidden in how she hugs. The comfort hug. When she hugs you in a relaxed, natural way, arms resting comfortably, body not stiff, breathing calm, this usually signals emotional safety. Psychologically, this means she feels secure around you. Your presence lowers her stress levels. Research shows that hugs like these reduce cortisol, the stress hormone. So when she hugs you this way, her body is saying, "I feel okay here, I can let my guard down." This hug doesn't scream passion, but it speaks stability. And here's the key insight many people miss. Emotional safety is often the foundation of deeper attachment. If she chooses to hug you when she doesn't have to, it means your presence is emotionally regulating for her. That's not small, that's powerful. The long hug. Now let's talk about duration. Psychologists have found that hugs lasting longer than about 20 seconds trigger the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. So when she holds the hug and doesn't rush to let go, something deeper is happening. This kind of hug often means emotional connection. She's not just acknowledging you, she's staying with you. In psychology, this suggests a desire for closeness, not necessarily physical desire, but emotional intimacy. Sometimes this hug happens after a long day, sometimes after silence, sometimes when words feel unnecessary. Her body is saying, "Stay here with me a little longer." And if she exhales deeply during the hug, that's an even stronger sign. It means she's releasing tension while holding you. In simple terms, your presence feels like relief. The tight hug. A tight hug carries intensity. Psychologically, tight hugs often appear when emotions are strong but unspoken. This could be longing, fear of loss, or a deep emotional attachment that hasn't found words yet. If she presses her body firmly against yours, it suggests a desire for reassurance. Her nervous system is seeking grounding through physical contact. This hug says, "I need you right now." But context matters. If the tight hug comes after time apart, it often signals missing you. If it comes during emotional moments, it signals trust. However, if the hug feels tight but tense, with stiff shoulders or shallow breathing, it may indicate anxiety rather than closeness. The body never lies, it always reveals the emotional truth. The quick hug. A quick hug isn't always rejection. And this is where many people misinterpret things. Psychologically, a brief hug can simply mean she's distracted, overwhelmed, or socially constrained. But if quick hugs are consistent and paired with limited eye contact or immediate withdrawal, it may signal emotional distance. Her body might be maintaining boundaries. This hug says, "I acknowledge you, but I'm not opening up right now." And that's important to understand without taking it personally. Not every boundary is a lack of interest. Sometimes it's self-protection. The side hug. The side hug is fascinating. Psychologists often associate it with friendliness rather than intimacy. When she hugs you from the side, it usually means comfort without vulnerability. This hug keeps emotional space intact. It's commonly used when she feels safe, but not emotionally exposed. Her body is saying, "I'm comfortable with you, but I'm not fully opening that door." This doesn't mean the door will never open, it just means it hasn't yet. The head-on hug. Now let's talk about one of the most revealing hugs. When she hugs you chest to chest, directly facing you, this is one of the strongest indicators of emotional openness. Psychologically, this hug removes physical barriers. There's no angle, no distance, no shield. Her body is fully aligned with yours. This hug often indicates trust, connection, and emotional availability. And if she rests her head against your chest or shoulder, that's a powerful sign of comfort and vulnerability. Her nervous system feels safe enough to relax. In that moment, she's not thinking, she's feeling. The hug, with a pause before letting go, pay attention to the ending of the hug. If she pauses for a moment before pulling away, that hesitation often means she doesn't want it to end. Psychologically, this suggests emotional attachment. It's a subtle signal, but a strong one. Her body is lingering in the connection. Sometimes what's unsaid lives in those final seconds. The hug that comes from her initiation matters. When she initiates the hug, it means the desire for connection came from her emotional world, not as a response to yours. Psychologically, this often signals comfort, trust, or affection. If she seeks you out for a hug during emotional moments, you've become part of her emotional regulation system. That's not casual, that's bonding, the hug. During silence, silence changes everything. When she hugs you without words, especially during quiet or emotionally charged moments, it often means she's expressing something she can't verbalize. Psychology tells us that when emotions are complex, the brain defaults to touch. This hug says, "I don't know how to explain what I feel, but this is real." What her hug does not automatically mean. Now let's clear something important. A hug does not always mean romantic interest. Psychology emphasizes context over assumption. Some people are naturally affectionate. Some cultures express warmth through touch. Some individuals use hugs as emotional support without romantic intent. The mistake many people make is projecting meaning instead of observing patterns. One hug is a moment. Patterns are messages. How to read the full message. To truly understand what she's telling you through her hugs, observe how often she hugs you when she chooses to hug, how her body feels during it, and whether it changes over time. Psychology is not about guessing, it's about noticing. Consistency reveals intention. Why hugs matter so much emotionally. Hugs activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for calm and connection. That's why the right hug can feel healing. When she hugs you, she's allowing her nervous system to interact with yours. In a very real psychological sense, you're sharing emotional space. That's why hugs can feel intimate, even without romance. And that's why losing a hug can hurt more than losing words. So, when she hugs you, what is she telling you? She's telling you how safe she feels, how open she is, how connected or guarded her emotions are in that moment. Listen to the hug, not the fantasy, not the fear, because the body speaks a language the mind can't fake. If this helped you understand human behavior a little deeper, you're already part of the Psychology Threads community. Subscribe for more psychology-based insights into relationships, emotions, and the human mind. And remember, sometimes the most honest conversations happen without a single word.